hear him one more time.
Woo!
It's a hard film to talk about as entertainment because that's not really what it is. Alex, you were just saying this is really more of an art house film than a war movie. And
Yeah, I was saying it privately.
but I wanted to start with the authenticity question. This film is constructed from memories. Right? You are one of the people who's there. You experienced it. You've been a military advisor on a number of films, most recently Civil War. And now you're doing this. So where do you start and how did you and Alex collaborate? How you got here?
Yeah, I mean, it starts back in 2009 where I participated in a movie called Axis Hour. And that was essentially the Navy to expand the SEAL teams. I think we're gaining 1 SEAL a year just due to the amount of deaths we're having. That's where I was first exposed to the movie industry. The next movie would have been Lone Survivor, where I was a tech advisor with Peter Berg. And that's really where I saw how the sausage was made. I saw a lot of similarities, as in multiple department heads working in concert with each other to achieve one objective. In this case, it was the movie. Yeah, and I was still doing that while I was on active duty, and then there came a point where it was time for me to get out. And I had to figure out what I wanted that I had. And I didn't know what to do with all these, some you could say skills or experiences that I had. So I felt that putting that into storytelling was a good avenue for me. Started out as a tech advisor, and in between that, nobody knew who I was, so the tech advising jobs weren't they just weren't accepting less of it, so financially what I needed to do. I have a daughter, I have responsibilities, so in between that, I was working in the camera department, I was production assistant, I worked in Grips, worked with Grips. And I was learned this new language, this new career. And then it dawned on me with Elliot Miller, who played by Cosmo, he doesn't remember what had happened, he can't speak, to find the wheelchair. He had a lot of questions, even when he first woke up after this incident. Big pictures of big questions like why, what, to the little things like what color were things. So I realized that potentially one day I could do a recreation for him. He's lacking that memory, that core. I think it was very frustrating for him, especially after losing his leg, some of the catastrophic injuries he sustained. And I think at the time it was always supposed to be like maybe a 30-minute recreation. I never thought I would have the opportunity to do a full-scale movie about it. So yeah, years gone by, 15 years really. I was acquiring just all these skills. I knew one day that I wanted to do it myself. But there were the right time, the right opportunities needed to be in place. Meaning I needed the autonomy and the freedom to tell every component. Because if I was going to make the movie, it was going to be for him. So every detail needed to be addressed. I needed him to know what we knew, saw what we saw, heard what we heard. And then Civil War came along. I was invited by stunt coordinator Jeff Dashnall, super famous stunt coordinator. He sent me the script, the Civil War script, and he's like, "Hey, I think this is something you should be a part of." I read it right off the bat. I was like, "I'm in." Showed up there. Yeah, started. There's the Washington D.C. piece, or the White House piece in particular, that I started to design. And that's kind of really how I started to talk. Yep. I think in post, Alex discovered something about that ending scene. It was very raw. It was like a Verite style, this like grounded action. And he can speak about all the details or the specific things he noticed. But that was the first time a director noticed these things that I put into these fireflies.
Mr. Mendoza and Mr. Garland. It's more of a technical question. I noticed during the film, any scene set outside, especially in the street, was shot with more of a wider angle lens, and any scene with the soldiers in the house, or when we were following them into combat, was shot with more up close, more in the action. I want to know, was that intentional or more of a stylistic choice on your part?
Anybody have a question?
The question was about lens sizes. It's a technical question to do with the exteriors and the interiors. The film is attempting to put you in a similar position to the soldiers to try, or I shouldn't use that word, should I? What's the right word? Soldiers. It's not soldiers, is it? You don't mind? Okay, fine. Troops. So in the house, we're often shooting on 35, 28, or 50 mil. A lot of the time, 35. Outside, honestly, you just need to see more. You have to have a context. And if you're on a 50 or a 35 mil, unless you're way back, you won't see the context. So it's that's way too technical, way too boring, but that's the answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, the second part of the other question, I think, we talked about like, it always feeling like compartmentalized, right? Like we're looking through this little hole for a lot of that time. That's the only perspective you get. So you kind of, because at one point we are going to blow out of this house, and it's just going to open up. So I think we wanted this very contained kind of feeling, and it's like, bright light coming outside. If you spend enough time in a dark room, your eyes adjust. Things outside are super bright, so establishing that claustrophobic feeling was also, I think, the second.
Yes, right.
So Christian won one of the top prizes tonight.
Yeah, one.
It's currently in a box right now. We were at the Mobland premiere.
They did this trivia thing, and I didn't win the first 2 rounds, but the third round, I won all 8 questions, and I was just telling Joe, I'm like, I'm not going to make this at all, and then I did. So after 2 rounds,
He thought he had no shot.
there's his. All right, so. Oh shit!
Oh?
Is that mud? Ooh.
It's a nice glass, a Mobland.
It's a Scotch glass.
That is sick. 2 Scotch glass collection. That
Nice.
is awesome.
Scotch glasses. That's awesome.
Watch Mobland this week.
And we got chocolate pretzels, guys. All right. Cool.
Nice.
Very nice.